theory or model is a simple representation of real world. By using a theory, we can understand that what is actually happening in the real world, in our Bastav Jivan. So designed a simple representation of a real world designed with the intent to better understand and explain. The simplification can be done using assumption or by focus only variables factors that are important to our study. So the variable that is important to our study. To study the CGPA of a student, we can only focus on the hours of studies, the hours a student spent on studies and the class attendance. If the hours, so that might, so এছাড়া আমাদের আর কোনো factor add করার দরকার নেই. So there might be no need to consider factor such as height or height or weight of a student. This is not relevant. So a good theory accurately predict real world phenomenon অবস্থা. And example, the theory above the CGPA of a student predicts that if a student studies more, then his or her CGPA will increase. If this happens in this real world, we can call it as a good theory, and it often happens in the real world. If you study more, your GPA will up. So what is basically ceteris Peribus? Ceteris Peribus means all other things constant or nothing else changes. Basically it means that income is constant. So these assumptions is essential when we want to study and determine the correct relationship between two variables. For example, someone can say if a person exercises more, then his or her weight will decrease. But it is only true if we assume there's ceteris paribus, that means all other things constant or nothing else. So if we assume that food intake is constant, then the more exercise will obviously reduce the price. So in our above case, the two variables can be directly related, inversely related, and independent. So two variables, if we think about it, if we increase the hours of study, then our CGPA will be up, and if we decrease the hours of study, the CGPA will be down. So this is a direct relationship or positive relationship, and inverse relationship হচ্ছে the variable change in opposite way. Suppose if a student hang out with their friends in long hours, then the CGPA will go down, and if she hang out a small time, then obviously he will study, and then the CGPA will go up. The independent variable are not related. If one change, other does not change. Independent variable হচ্ছে যেটা আরেকটা ভেরিয়েবলের উপর ডিপেন্ডেন্ট করতেছে না, যেমন ধরুন তাদের তাপমাত্রা এবং একটা স্টুডেন্টের সিজিপিএ কখনোই রিলেটেড না. So the relationship between two variables can be using these graphs. So as you can see, as the income rises 100 to 500, the consumption is also rising. So this is a example of positive relationship between two variables, and this, if we see in this graph, you can see this graph represents the negative relationship. As you can see, the price of a CD go up, the quantity demanded is go down. So this price of a CD and the quantity demanded of CD is inversely related. These two variables are inversely related. So this is a negative relationship between these two variables, and in this case the if we think about the independent variables, we might have a vertical and horizontal line as below. So this here, the price has no effect over quantity. QD, no effect. It goes straight. It goes straight. So okay. So important thing is that our graph is that a graph always contains two variables. If one of the variables of the graph changes, then there will be a movement along the curve. If the income increases from 200 to 300, and there will be a movement along with curve from if we are indicating that 2 point থেকে যদি 300 তে যায়, then the graph will shift from C to D. And if a relevant variable outside of the graph changes, the entire curve will shift. If the price of goods and services increases, then the consumption will decreases. If the price of a goods and services increases, then the consumption will decrease, and the entire graph will shift down. As the QD is decreasing. So the entire graph from here shift to right. So thank you. This is all about chapter 1.